The Los Angeles Rams saw their season come to an end Sunday. Quarterback Matthew Stafford threw for 374 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not enough, though, to outduel Sam Darnold as the Rams lost to the Seahawks 31-27 in the NFC Championship game. Stafford and Sean McVay were asked about Stafford's future after the game. Take a listen.
John, do you expect Matthew Stafford to be back next season?
Yeah, if he still wants to play, what the hell kind of question is that? The answer, yeah. You have to ask him. We've been totally present. I know that if he wants to, he's still playing at a pretty damn good clip. He's the MVP of the league, and if he's not, I got respect for everybody else, but this guy played at a level that's just different.
I can't generalize, 6 months of my life, 10 minutes after a loss. So appreciate the guys in this locker room a whole hell of a lot. Everybody that helped me, and helped our team be as successful as we were this year. And that's all I'll answer for you.
I think those are fair responses, also fair questions, though. You don't know when you're going to have a chance to ask about Stafford and what's going to happen going forward. Where does this loss, though, leave Stafford's legacy, SA?
Well, listen, I think he's one of the great quarterbacks to play in NFL history, one of the greatest passers we've ever seen. I believe all of this noise about him being a potential Hall of Famer. Please, he's already a Hall of Famer. This man's a champion, and he's one of the greatest passers of the football. And, what he's done over the last 2 games, over 800 yards passing. The points that he's put up over the last 2 games, 64 points in 2 weeks, in these 2 weeks in Week 16 in the NFC title game. You're talking about Stafford leading the Rams 64 points, 1,060 total yards, 831 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, not a single turnover, and 1 sack against the NFL's #1 scoring defense. This brother is something special, no doubt about it, in the 2 games that he's played against Seattle. And I don't want to hear anything. We all know. That Matthew Stafford, was great. Because all of those years he spent in Detroit, you never once looked at it and said it was him. You always knew it was the organization. You always knew it was the pieces around him. It wasn't because of him. This brother was something special, always has been. And the minute he departed from Detroit to get to Los Angeles, he won a Super Bowl championship. Last year, in inclement weather and damn near blizzard against the Philadelphia Eagles, almost beat them. This year, what he did. He's the MVP. He's the MVP. There's no question about it. Sean McVay, I want to say this real quick. Sean McVay, there's very few coaches I have more respect and love for than this brother. I think he's brilliant. I've had the pleasure of meeting him on a couple of occasions. I think the man is just a brilliant football mind. He's a hell of a coach. What he said to the reporter disturbed me because you looking at the reporter like the reporter's getting it out of thin air. Wasn't it Matthew Stafford that was contemplating departing? Wasn't it the Los Angeles Rams that gave him permission to talk to other teams before they ultimately rekindled things and he ended up staying? Wasn't it Matthew Stafford that had the bad back and we were wondering whether or not he was going to be available at certain parts of this season for the Los Angeles Rams? Wasn't it him talking about Father Time, 37 years of age? How much time does he have left? Didn't he just say in the postgame that this is too soon to think about that? I need some time to think about it, etc. Sometimes folks look at reporters and it's like, where the hell do you think we get this from? You get it from them. You get it from the organizations. You get it from the players. So when I see that kind of reaction, it's like, oh, my God, what kind of a question? You mean what kind of a question is that? It was a perfectly logical question, considering the fact that you walked into this season wondering whether or not this was going to be his last year. He just played like an all-world player. So obviously that's not something you're contemplating now. But the question was legitimate, and I just want to say that.
I think the only thing left for Matthew Stafford's legacy is he a top 10 quarterback all time. All time. And I think what we saw last night leaves that still up for question. I think if they win last night, they win the Super Bowl, he would go as a top 10 quarterback of all time. He's top 7 in basically every passing category. I believe he should and will win MVP this year. He'd be a 2-time Super Bowl NFL champion or Super Bowl champion. So I think that's the only thing left for Stafford's legacy or unknown is, does he play another year? And if he does he get that second Super Bowl trophy? I think there's only 13 guys that have multiple. I believe so. That might be high as well. It might be 7. And so, that's the only thing left. And I think that's the disappointing thing coming off of yesterday is the fact that the play warranting a win. And again, many people believe the winner of that last night's game will win the Super Bowl. I would have believed the Rams would have as well. So he's a lock Hall of Famer. Anybody that has the Hall of Fame conversation, you're absolutely out of your mind. He's a lock.
The Hall of Fame conversation is ridiculous with Matthew Stafford. He's a lock for that. And I think this year put it into the conversation that Matthew Stafford's a first ballot Hall of Famer. This defense and the special teams of the Rams cost Matthew Stafford being in conversations for top 5 quarterbacks of all time, especially modern era. And here is why. Drew Brees, for all the numbers that he has, never won an MVP. Drew Brees only won 1 Super Bowl. If Matthew Stafford wins the MVP this year, if he would have gotten an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, which his play warranted, he's in the conversation for being a better quarterback than Drew Brees, and he's certainly a more talented quarterback than he is. John Elway, he won 1 MVP in 1987, right? He won Super Bowls late in his career. He won 2. Matthew Stafford would be in that conversation with John Elway. Steve Young only won 1 Super Bowl. And so there were so many conversations that changed around Matthew Stafford, even after spending so much time in Detroit, where we all recognized him as an all-time thrower of the football. Now it's leadership. Now it's ability to contribute to wins. Now it's carrying a team. And if they win this game, the actual numbers and accolades would have supported him being in the top 5, at least of the modern era conversation. I can't talk about Unitas and Graham and all those people. I don't know those people. But of the people I've seen, this is a conversation that I was hesitant to get into with Dan that I have now changed my mind on after watching last night's
I feel like I'm wearing the Mad Dog hat. I'll go the Mad Dog route. Let me bring us into the history books here. Just offhand, before we say top 10, Dan, who are you putting him in instead of? Tom Brady?
No.
Peyton Manning?
No.
Joe Montana?
No.
Johnny Unitas?
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Aaron Rodgers?
If he had 1, yes.
Brett Favre?
If he had 1, yes. Brett has 3 in a row, which changes some of the conversation. But if he wins another Super Bowl, that's a conversation those 2 players are not in.
Yeah.
And then I had Elway.
I thought RC's point. I mean, it puts him in that conversation. Maybe not with.
And then I went with Otto Graham. So yes, that's it.
I don't know those guys.
That's it.
It's a legit. It's a legit thing.
Yeah.
We talk about Dan Marino. Don't we talk about Dan Marino being one of the greatest passers, an all-time great? Don't we have Dan Marino in the conversation consistently?
Yes.
Do you know that Matthew Stafford just completed his 17th season? Do you know that Dan Marino played 17 years? Even though times have changed, and we understand that, Matthew Stafford has more touchdown passes, less interceptions, and has a higher percentage. And by the way, he won a Super Bowl and Dan Marino never did. Now, we can say for the same reasons that Matthew Stafford just lost, because Dan Marino was super duper and Clayton and those boys clearly should have won a Super Bowl, but Don Shula and those boys never gave him a defense. And we understand that. Last night we saw that the Rams didn't have much of a defense, and obviously their special teams was compromised. But when you look at Matthew Stafford and what he brings to the table, by the way, 35 interceptions over the last 4 years. 35 interceptions over the last 4 years. That's Matthew Stafford. This is what he brings. 8, 3 of the last 4 years, and 11 1 year. That's what this man is bringing to the table. 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions at age 37. And we know that he's not in the Super Bowl because of that damn defense and special teams. I mean, I just can't say enough about Matthew Stafford personally. And he most clearly is the league MVP this year, without question.
I mean, if he wins the MVP, he ain't walking away. How could you walk away after you win an MVP? Although it does sound like he's going to come back, so maybe the Rams
You got 4 little tiny beautiful reasons that you might want to sit at home.
That's
By the way, according to Adam Schefter, who love football and likes seeing their daddy play. And so as a result, that being at SoFi Stadium in California, there are worse places to play football.
That's true. That's true. So maybe we see the Rams try and run it back again then next year. Coming up on First Take, could Drake May and Mike Vrabel be the next Tom Brady and Bill Belichick? Ooh, we don't know. We're going to sound off next.